Another thing, another tactic that I am going to make a very strong suggestion to any media outlet or journalist that get this on their show. First, I'm going to play the clip, and then we are going to discuss what angers me about this and what we need to do to stop this at this point. Because first of all, it might be already too late. Should have done this a very long time ago. But Tim Burchett, this, I don't know, he's like a little trollish, I don't know, he's like a little dude who, he's got that little accent and you think, oh, he's kind of cute. He's so nice and he's so Southern and he talks like this and he sounds like the Southern gentleman that everybody should love. And we just love the America and all. He has that voice. It's just so bad. And you just think he's this innocent little guy, but he's just another one of these pain in the ass guys who goes on these news outlets and just blames everybody else, including the channel that he's on. So I want to play this clip and then I want to talk about what these channels, including CNN, who he was being interviewed by, need to do from this point on.
Just had a meeting just now in oversight. There are 7 days. Somebody said, well, it's just so infantile, it's so small. And then it turned out, I asked, what's the percentage? And they said 7 to 8%, over $150 billion that is being misdirected or stolen or whatever through fraudulent or human
I'm just
error.
Trying to have
Why don't you embrace that? Why don't you all at CNN want? Why don't you all at CNN
I'm
want
trying to do a little math with
stuff?
you. I'm trying to do some math with you, talking about
Ma'am,
math.
You all do not support one cut. CNN, you all do not support one dadgum cut in any of this stuff. You're trying to use the lowest denominator. You're trying to scare the most people to drive the train against Trump, and it's not working. The American
Everything he's saying is buzzwords, by the way. Everything.
people are not buying it, and you all have made a huge error in this because
we're looking at
unbelievable waste.
I'm looking at the
fraud.
numbers.
No, ma'am, No, ma'am.
I'm looking at the numbers that Doge has put out themselves. They say they're cutting contracts that have already ended. They say they're cutting a big amount. It turns out it's actually a smaller amount. That's just math, Congressman. And we're going to continue to keep looking at the math.
Are you saying there's not? Are you saying there's not? Well, look at the math. Are you saying there's not billions of dollars of waste, abuse, and fraud in federal government? Are you trying to say that? Because everybody out there knows
I don't
it.
need to tell you that. There's CBO estimates. That's what we're trying to discuss is the actual number. We're trying to have, at least I'm trying to have an honest conversation with you about the numbers and CBO estimates and the numbers that experts on this topic expect there to be. Congressman Tim Burchett, thanks for joining us.
Unnamed experts, thank y'all so much for having me.
Yeah, see, this is their tactic. First of all, in the first time out hearing that clip, I didn't even hear him mention Kamala Harris the first time being on a book tour. I don't even know what the fuck that has to do with anything. Kamala Harris could do whatever the fuck she wants. She lost the election. So she does whatever she wants. When Donald Trump lost the election, he was out playing golf and he was doing whatever the fuck he wanted. So I have no idea what Kamala Harris has to do anything with that other than she's another buzzword. You throw in Kamala Harris, you throw in CNN, you throw in all the buzzwords that he was using. And I have this advice for CNN and for all these news channels. Stop letting them do this to you. If I'm CNN, because they do this to CNN all the time, they use those 3 letters as literal rifles towards the interviewer. And this guy, Tim, knows that he's going to go viral on Elon Musk's Twitter all over the place. And people are going to be saying, look at how Tim Burchett dog walked the CNN anchor. Oh my God, I love watching CNN having to sit there and take it from these people. And my advice is to stop letting them do this to you. Stop taking it. What I would have done to that little fucking clown is said, hold on, whoa, cut his mic, because he's not going to cut me off. Sir, I am asking you questions the same way that we have asked every single person in politics for the decades that we have been on. We ask you hard questions, and I know you like to go to your little safe spaces like Fox News, who will not follow up on any of these questions. So when you are here and you do get tough questions, you think your 3 little letters of CNN is going to deflect from the hard question. You're out of your mind. Now, this may work with some people, but it's not going to work for everybody that is watching us right now. So, sir, I'm going to ask you this question again, and let's see if you can stop blaming CNN for the question and just answer it as posed, like every other grown adult would be able to answer it. Is that hard? Why does CNN not do this? Why do they continue to allow them to use this narrative that CNN is some fake channel that has just been designed to lie about Donald Trump 24 hours, 7 days a week? In fact, the reason why I don't watch CNN anymore is because they are partially responsible for getting Donald Trump elected, because they didn't do enough to combat the lies that Donald Trump had said constantly. And they didn't do enough to combat the lies that were told about the Democrats constantly. Now, I will tell you, that's not as much as CNN's responsibility as it is the Democrats. That I will 100% admit. But sometimes when lies are so blatant, they have to be called out on their face, and you can't just let them simmer out there and let the public decide, because the public, for the most part, is politically stupid, and some people just don't know how to decide. I know that's rough to say, and I don't even mean that in a bad way. I say that because a lot of people just don't have time sometimes to look through what's true, what's not true. Some of it should be pretty damn obvious, but in this day and age anymore, it's not, unfortunately, that obvious. It's just not. And you have to parse through what is lie and what is truth, and who's making things up and who's not making things up. But CNN, when you have Tim Burchett on your show, and he's basically saying the only reason why you're asking this question is because you hype down on Trump so much that you're just going to put him down, but you're not going to talk about the millions and billions of dollars that Doge saved. She actually was. And she was questioning, looking at Doge's own quote unquote transparency, the numbers that are putting out versus what's actually on their website. She wants you to answer these questions since you decided to come on our channel and to speak on this subject. So if you're going to speak on this subject, you're going to have to answer the fucking questions that are asked to you as to why Elon Musk on his own site is showing canceled contracts that he's counting as money being saved. These are contracts that have already been canceled. I used this analogy before. If you buy a ticket to a concert and you don't go, the person performing still has your money, whether you go or you don't go. It's the same thing as the contract. If we already paid the contract, who gives a fuck if you canceled it now? Doesn't matter. But you're going to count that as savings? You're also going to put stuff on there that shows $8 billion contract canceled when it was only $8 million, and it took you a while to correct that? Those kind of questions should be asked to you, sir, because you came on to my fucking channel and you decided that you were going to speak on behalf of this. So you using these CNN out, so you can sit there and get your little viral moment on X or on Twitter or whatever the fuck you want to call it, and be a hero over on Fox News and with everybody else, not working here anymore. Not. So how about this? If you can't answer these questions, then you can take your little ass and never come back. I don't really care if you come back or not. That should be the attitude from now on, because they are making fools out of CNN, and CNN is allowing them to make fools out of them. They've allowed them to make fools out of them for 8-9 years now, and they've done nothing to stop it. I mean, is this by design? I know we have the person that's running CNN right now is a Trump supporter. The guy that was ousted from CNN, the guy that replaced him, is a Trump supporter. So is this by design? Are they not allowed to combat what they're saying? Do they have to do it in a manner that's quote unquote respectful? Fuck that, because they're not being respectful. I don't know. Like we've talked about this before. Michelle Obama once said, when they go low, we go high. And that was a great thing at the time. But even Michelle Obama has said, fuck that. You're going low. Guess what? We're going lower. And we're going to do everything we can to battle this nonsense that you guys continue to spew over and over and over again in this fucking country that is breaking the brains of millions and millions of people, family members, coworkers, friends. Brains are fucking broken because not only is the right-wing propaganda media breaking the shit out of these brains, the quote-unquote other side, mainstream media, they're letting them do it. They're letting them to some extent. They're letting them do it. Not good. It's not good. And they need to find a way to change that, because if they don't, this is the road we're going to be on maybe for the rest of our lives. I don't know how old you are if you're out there watching. If you're as old as me, I'll be 54 in a couple weeks. And I can see this happening for the rest of my life if we continue down this road. And we don't have enough people out there combating it. And it's time for the Democrats to get out there and combat this. Couple of positive things. Midas Touch beating Joe Rogan is phenomenal news. That's better news than I think people even realize. When you have a left-leaning podcast beating the guy that seemed at some point unstoppable, and he's losing a lot of listeners now. And I've heard this. People that I know listen to Joe Rogan said, can't listen to it anymore. Not like I used to. He's just way out there. I mean, way out there. There's a guy named Mr. Beat on YouTube, and he just did a whole thing. It was 20 minutes about how I can't listen to Joe Rogan anymore. And he had expressed on there that he was a huge Joe Rogan. Like, he literally listened every single day, hours of days, since when he first started back in 2011, I believe it was, or 12, whenever he started his podcast, 13, 14, whatever. But he would listen every single day and found Joe Rogan, at least the show, very, very interesting, and that Joe Rogan would have guests on and he would listen and he would ask questions quizzically like a child would. And he found that fascinating. And as time went on, Joe became more and more red-pilled. And now he's just so far right that a lot of people who used to listen to him for those reasons cannot listen to him anymore. And now he's dethroned by some major podcast on the left, Midas Touch. That's a good sign. That's good news. And what Democrats or anybody, forget about Democrats, American patriots that don't want this country to go in the direction that MAGA wants you to go, and that includes real Republicans, independents, Green Party, libertarians, whatever you identify as, you need to get out there. And if you want to start your podcast, start a podcast. Are we going to be able to build the same right-wing propaganda media? No chance, because we don't have a television outlet that would ever do what a Fox News, a Newsmax, OAN does. Never. CNN and MSNBC would never do what Fox News and OAN and Newsmax does. And what am I talking about? Blatantly lie to the American public. Like, literally blatantly lie on a daily basis, all day, every single day. And not just lie, but you're also going to prop up the king, Donald Trump. You're going to prop up Elon Musk. And everything that they do is right. Everything the left does is wrong. And you don't have a TV outlet that will ever do that. Ever. Podcasters, we could get podcasters and we could start making them more and more popular. We have Jon Stewart does one. Pod Save America does one. But the problem with our podcasters, we're still not all on the same side. I've brought this up a million times. Until you all get the same talking points and you start communicating with each other that everything we do is good, everything they do is bad. And I don't think that that's the right thing to do. But we're at a point now in our lives where you got to say everything's not about the right things. Just like when they go low, we go high. Not about going high anymore. It's about going as low as they do. And if you continue to try to find ways to tell the world, even the people that you vote for, are doing the wrong things, or they shouldn't do this, they shouldn't do that. And if you keep throwing that in, you're not playing the game right. We're in a game now, and it's a game of kind of life or death at this point. And if we don't start getting our ducks in a row, then we're in big trouble. Midas Touch, all day, every single one of their podcasts is telling us what Trump did wrong. That's the only message at this point, period. And then you can also throw in what the Democrats are doing right. And you can also throw in that the Democrats had been lied about for years. The narrative about Democrats had been shaped by the right-wing propaganda media that is a extreme caricature that's not even close to what the Democratic Party is. I don't say the Democratic Party is perfect, but right now we are in a battle to where we need to open up our eyes and start saying we need to do what they do, or else we're going to continue to lose. And the other part is these really smart Democrats like Jon Stewart, John Oliver, even the ones in Congress, Pete Buttigieg, ones that can fight, Jasmine Crockett, AOC, Eric Swalwell, these guys, Maxwell Frost, very, very smart people. You could go on the left-wing podcast. That's great. Maybe we're talking into an echo chamber, but you need to find yourselves on Joe Rogan. David Pakman's a great person to listen to on the left. If you listen to pretty much every one of his clips or every one of his shows, he gets the program. He understands the program, and he says it in a very smart and very easy way to understand, and it's all true. He asked Joe Rogan, I'll come on your show. I'm going to be in Texas. Joe Rogan, no response. And that's what I suspect that we're going to get a lot from these right-wing podcasters. They're not going to have David Pakman's on. They're not going to have Pete Buttigieg on. They're not going to have the smart Jasmine Crockett's on. They're not going to have these people on because they know, Joe Rogan knows, these people are way smarter than me. I know I'm a bullshitter, or I know I don't know anywhere near as much as I give out to my stupid audience, that they know. I know a lot of them are going to believe what I say. But if it's countered to my face and I've got absolutely no counter back, then I look like a fucking moron. See, back in the old days, from what I understand, Joe Rogan did not mind looking like a fucking moron. In fact, he sort of embraced it. But now he's so strong with his talking points, he doesn't want to look like a moron in front of his audience now that is built in. And he's losing audience members, but he is keeping the ones who will buy into everything that he says and acts like he's some genius on every subject. So when you say, I'll go on Joe Rogan, he doesn't respond, guess what you do? Daily. I'm still waiting, Joe. I'm still waiting. I remember my hero, David Letterman. Obviously different thing, but he used to nightly, almost in a way, harass Oprah Winfrey. Oprah, come on the show. Oprah, come on the show. It is a running joke every single night. Obviously, it's not the same thing. That was a joke. And he would do it to try to get Oprah to come on. And ultimately, Oprah Winfrey finally came on his show. But that's what David Pakman and all these guys do that do have the guts and balls to challenge these people to daily say, Joe, hey, I asked to be on your show. Still no response. Call them out daily. These guys, Jasmine Crockett needs to go on the national news channels every day and say, I asked to be on Joe Rogan. I asked to be on Charlie Kirk. And I know Gavin Newsom got a lot of heat for having Charlie Kirk on his podcast, which at first, I don't think is a terrible thing. Charlie Kirk is a horrible human being. He obviously has racist views. He's just a piece of shit human being. But if you could debate properly with Charlie Kirk, I don't care how you do it, then do it. My understanding is, and I have not seen the interview, I've only seen pieces of it or heard about it, is that it sounded like Gavin Newsom gave in to Charlie Kirk a little bit. That's not what we're looking for. We're not looking to buddy up with Charlie Kirk. We're looking to have a debate with them, and we're looking to call them out on their lies every fucking day. And we have to stop letting them control the narrative of who you are, because that's why you lost. That's why Kamala Harris is doing her book tour, as Tim Burchett said on that last clip. That's why she's doing it, because we allowed this to happen for way too long. CNN, you allowed this to happen for way too long. Time to put an end to it.